go back to the 90s!
Boom shakalaka!
My calculations are correct. When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
My flows hit you at straight 88 miles per hour, that's enough to generate 1.21 gigawatts, son, and I'm on the run from the Libyans. It was a straight jack move for plutonium, and when they van rolls up, it's pandemonium. 1:18 a.m. at Twin Pines Mall is when I can pinpoint my total downfall. Now they say that
Greetings and salutations and welcome to Nostal-Ged. Today we've got a great one for you. We're counting down our top 10 favourite Nickelodeon shows. It just seems like Nickelodeon has always been with us. It was there before school, it was there after school, weekends, holidays. I wasted so much of my youth watching Nickelodeon. And a lot of people say that Nick isn't as good anymore, and I just can't agree with that. I still watch Nickelodeon to this day. The likes of Loud House, Casa Grandes, Sanjay and Craig, Breadwinners, they hold up against some of the classic shows. But remember guys, that's why we call it top 10 favourites and not top 10 best. It's all about opinion. If you don't agree, get in the comment section, tell me what should be on the top 10 Nickelodeon shows. So let's do this, here we go, top 10 favourite Nickelodeon shows. Just making it into the top 10 is the Wild Thornberrys, and when you see the honourable mentions later, you'll see why I say it just made it in. Wild Thornberrys took me a while to get into. I was just starting high school when it came out, but I started watching it and I was hooked. There's two reasons for this. Donnie, who I later found out was voiced by Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers, and the main reason is Nigel Thornberry. He goes down as one of the best cartoon characters of all time, defo top 5 dads.
That was smashing!
Rocko's Modern Life is a weird one for me. When it first came out when I was 7, I watched it and I really liked it. However, when the new episode came onto Netflix recently, I sat down and I rewatched the whole series again for the first time in over 20 years. And there is so much more to appreciate when you're grown up. Hooray! I love it now more than ever before. If you haven't watched it since the 90s, do yourself a favour, rewatch it, and now you'll get all the jokes, all the innuendos, and you won't regret it. It's a great show.
You're all wild pigs! I'm a wild pig! Silence!
It's the only show to make it into the top 10 that wasn't made in the 90s. Fairly Odd Parents has a very special place in my heart. I'm going to get a bit soppy, but here we go. When I was leaving high school and I was starting work and going to college, and I was being forced to grow up. But it was shows like Phineas and Ferb, Fairly Odd Parents, Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy that made me realise it doesn't matter how old you get. Watching so-called kids shows and cartoons is nothing to be embarrassed about. And now here I am in my mid-30s and I'm doing a YouTube channel talking about kids shows still. Don't grow up, it's a trick. Thank you so much, Fairly Odd Parents.
Dinkelberg.
When I try to think back to my first memories of kids' TV, I have some blurs of things like Bananas in Pyjamas and Super Ted, but the one that always sticks out is Doug. Doug seems like it's been around forever, and it pretty much has. Doug is the oldest series in this list, and it set the standard for all that followed. When we got Disney Plus, it was one of the first shows I rewatched on it. And it's not just Doug that makes the show great. There's Pork Chop, Patty Mayonnaise, Roger, Mr. Dink, Quail Man, The Beats, and of course, Skeeter.
Hey, Doug.
I have got a lot of love for Doug. It's one of the classics. The first non-animated show to make the list, and let's take the fact that I had the biggest crush in the world on Melissa Joan Hart growing up, we'll take that out of the equation. Sabrina still deserves to be on this list. Clarissa Explains It All was okay, but Sabrina was a must-watch. It seemed to be on Nickelodeon like 8 times a day growing up, but it just never got old. Okay, the last series where Sabrina leaves the auntie's house and gets a job, that wasn't great. But the one thing we can all agree on is that Salem is a G. That cat is hilarious, so sarcastic, so sassy. Salem rocks. No! Oh, and if you haven't give the new Sabrina series a try on Netflix, give it a go. There's no jokes and the cat doesn't talk, but it's worth a watch. It's the longest running series in Nickelodeon's history. 248 episodes, 17 computer games, 3 movies and a Super Bowl halftime appearance. SpongeBob is what keeps the Nickelodeon going. SpongeBob is the John Cena, it's the Tom Brady, the LeBron James, the Sidney Crosby. It deserves it as well. It will go down as one of the greatest animated series in history. It's on the same level as Simpsons and South Park. So why then is it only number 5 on my list? Well, the truth is, it's the only show on the list I haven't seen every episode of.
You what?
I know, I'll see every episode soon. I saw SpongeBob coming and going throughout the 2000s, but it wasn't until I had my own kids that I sat down and really got an appreciation for what SpongeBob is. Not every episode is great, but the ones that are great, and there are lots of them, are amazing.
But here we go.
Hey Arnold is number 1 on a lot of people's lists, and I completely understand why. And don't get me wrong by putting it at number 4, I love this show, I've loved it since it first came out, and I still watch it now. However, it's not the funniest show on the list. But Hey Arnold makes up for it in abundance, with characters and emotional storylines. The Stoop Kid episode and the Pigeon Man episode, they taught us not to judge people by their appearances, and Helga's obsession with Arnold, it taught us it's okay to feel emotions. That Parents' Day episode, that taught us to deal with loss, and of course, that Arnold's Christmas, the episode with Mr. Juan's long-lost daughter, that still chokes me up to this day. Hey Arnold showed us, it's not just enough for a kid's show to be funny, it needs to have heart.
What rolls downstairs, owner and pears, rolls over your neighbor's dog. What's great for a snack and sits on your back? It's long, long, long. It's long, long. It's big, it's heavy, it's wood. It's long, long. It's better than that, it's good.
Growing up, I had 2 older brothers, and I saw a lot of shows that I shouldn't have seen that soon. Beavis and Butthead, The Tick, Space Ghost Coast to Coast. I used to turn the telly back on after bedtime, really low, so my mum didn't catch me, because if she caught me, I'd get a whooping.
You fat, bloated idiot!
And I never really considered Ren and Stimpy one of those shows, until I rewatched it when I went to college. And that's the beautiful thing about Ren and Stimpy. Watch it as a 10-year-old kid and you'll love the slapstick, the fart jokes, the story of a cute little chihuahua who lives with a cat. Then watch it as an 18-year-old and it's like watching a whole other show. There's sexual innuendos, there's politics, social commentary, dark undertones to each tale. Ren and Stimpy is like a perfect time capsule of what the 90s was. It was clever, it was gross, it was funny, dark, silly. There's great characters, stories, musical numbers, psychedelic visuals. Ren and Stimpy is a hell of a journey.
Happy, joy, joy.
If you were to sit people down and ask them, name a 90s cartoon, 99% would say Rugrats. I mean, if you asked them to name a Nickelodeon show, again, 99% they're gonna say Rugrats. There were other shows on Nickelodeon before Rugrats, but if it weren't for Rugrats coming along in 1991, Nickelodeon never would have survived. And don't get it twisted, there were some really good shows on Nickelodeon in the early 90s, like Doug, Are You Afraid of the Dark, Clarissa Explains It All. But for the longest time, Rugrats was Nickelodeon. Nickelodeon was Rugrats. It was massive. Cereal, toys, games, movies. Rugrats was a phenomenon. 172 great episodes, 3 movies, the all grown up spin-off, and it's about to make a comeback on Paramount Plus. And it was nearly my favourite Nickelodeon show. Nearly. And my favourite Nickelodeon show of all time is...
Oh, here it goes. Everybody out there, go run and tell your homeboys and homegirls it's time for Keenan and Kel to keep you laughing in the afternoon. So don't touch that dial, don't read the room, because they always in the summer, no frontin' and you don't want to miss it. It's Double K like...
I'm sorry, I had to leave that theme playing a bit longer than the others. That is a tune. There were only 4 seasons and 65 episodes of Keenan and Kel, but it was the best 65 episodes of any 90s kids show. Keenan and Kel was a perfect show. It was hilarious, from Kel's love of orange soda, to the screw in the tuna, to Kel being a genius.
Why?
There was cool celebrity guests like Nick Cannon, Britney Spears and Ron Harper, just to name a couple. And Keenan and Kel wasn't just hilarious, it was emotional when he wanted to be. That episode where Keenan's family are moving away and Kel gets there too late to say goodbye. Oh my days, I mean, I'm having emotional flashbacks just thinking about it. And can we take a second just to talk about that Coolio intro? I mean, it's one of the best theme tunes, if not the best theme tune of all time. It was my jam. I still remember being 9 years old and begging my mum to take us to the Nick Studios. I mean, that place looked dope. I wanted to be in the crowd so much. I mean, you've all seen it. I know you've seen it. Let's put it simple. Keenan and Kel is my favourite Nickelodeon show. It is the best Nickelodeon show. Don't agree? Fight me in the comment section. And while you're there, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I've got another special guest who I've just wrapped up. We're editing the video and we'll be uploading it next week. And if you like these top 10 favourite videos, comment about the kind of videos you want to see. TVs, films, computer games, music. We'll cover it all. Just let us know what you want to see. And now let's kick back and listen to some more Coolio. Peace!
Oh, here it goes. Everybody out there, go run and tell your homeboys and homegirls it's time for Keenan and Kel to keep you laughing in the afternoon. So don't touch that dial, don't read read the room. Cause they always in the summer, no frontin' and you don't wanna miss it. It's double K like do the good way. It's Keenan and Kel, I should have said Kel and Keenan and you